Welcome everyone to the Island Life podcast, where we journey onto the island of discovery to relive some of the best and worst moments of Survivor. My name is Will, an experienced Survivor fan, 48 seasons deep, and I will be your guide. And joining us on this adventure is our rising Survivor fan with 13 seasons under her belt, Ange.
Hello.
And of course, we also have our Survivor newbie, the brand new Survivor fan who just finished his 5th season of the show. I give you Survivor F.
What's going on, guys? How are you doing?
Oh, I'm good. Back for more Survivor China. As we are near the end. It's actually pretty funny. If you want to date ourselves, we're recording this in the midst of season 49 almost being over, so they're actually both on the same schedule. So next time we're back, it's the finale of this season and the finale of the current 49 season. So everything coming to a head.
Exciting. Then you could jump instead of 1 season on our belt to 2 more seasons on under our
You
belt.
are you're right. You're right. I could. Um But yeah, so final stretch time in Survivor China. Lots to talk about. For our breaking the ice segment, I want to know how do you think you are at trivia? How, like over time in your life, like trivia comes up at some point. So how did you fare at trivia?
I feel like overall trivia, I'm the worst at. I feel like there's some people that are just naturally good at everything, and I am not one of those people, so I'm really bad at trivia. I believe when I was in National Honor Society, we hosted actually as one of because I was the vice president there. We hosted a Jeopardy night, and I remember being like, "Man, good thing I'm not the ones answering these questions. I would be so bad. I don't know anything."
Yeah, I don't have a full grasp of where I stand. I think I would do okay. I'd probably say I'm average. It depends on like what the subject matter is. If it's a more general trivia, uh, probably do okay. I have pretty broad knowledge in things. If it's like specialized to like music, there's still a lot I need to learn about music, for instance, or like the history of music. So I think depending on the topic, if it's something I'm comfortable in, I'd probably do pretty good. I'm pretty confident in myself, but for the most part, I would say I'm average.
I'm closer to Ange. I think usually because a lot of trivia, like if you go to a bar's trivia night, a lot of it tends to be broad, like every round is something different, and
Oh
so
my
I'm
gosh,
not
yes.
good in just general things. But for any of us, I'm sure if you put us for trivia to like one of our fandoms, hopefully, we would show out.
Maybe. You remind me of something. I did go to 2 trivia nights this year and in a book bar. It was really cool. I had a great time, but I really was just there to hang out with friends. Meanwhile, all my friends were way better than me. One of my friends, Sarah, she just has a knack to know random things and actually like get on it. Like there was a topic of just flags. I was unaware how bad I am with flag. Like when you look at something, you're like, "Oh, obviously this is the flag of whatever, whatever." But then when you're just
Yeah.
looking at the flag, you're like, "Huh, which country is that?" You just gotta figure like, which color was it? I don't remember. These reds, these yellows, and blues all just kind of blend in with one another, where they just like just become one big blob, and you don't remember anymore. The brain just fills it in for you for a moment there.
If you want to really be bamboozled, start looking up state flags. Like
Oh,
so many I didn't know when I looked it up.
oh
No idea.
no.
Barely know my own state's flag. And then after that, just crazy. And by the way, Sarah, friend of the show, if you recall.
Yes,
So,
yes.
former co-host,
Yes, and
will be
also a
back eventually.
great yes, very great at trivia. So if she was here, she would say she's not great or average, but I would say she is great at it.
Well, I brought it up because, surprisingly, especially after these 2 episodes, trivia's come up a lot, right? In this season,
Yeah,
like
that's
Yeah.
several of the
true.
challenges.
I would say that in this case, the trivia here I would be decent at. Because like the questions here, I think I could do it. Especially the trivia that we're doing like in China is more related to Chinese culture and history. So I feel like not that I have a full on edge over everyone, but I think I could do a little bit better. My question for you guys would be like, which topic, if you could pick any topic, right, where you could go into Survivor confidently, like this is the theme, you got it easily. Which topic would it be for you guys? Like that you
For
would
like
confidently.
trivia or just
Yeah,
like
yeah. If you were like, let's say you're like, oh, you're invited to this theme Survivor like season. Which theme of Survivor you would think you would do best in regards to trivia? Like we had pirates previously. This time it's mostly like Chinese culture and history. What would like yours be that you would be confident in that you'll do really good in?
oh, interesting. That's a great question. I don't know if it would fit the motif of like a season of Survivor, but like I'm pretty knowledgeable when it comes to like things like cars or general sports or like,
Oh,
gaming. But like,
cars.
I don't know if they would bring that up and like that. I don't see a Survivor season themed around that sort of thing.
Hey, I
So
think they could always change it up and zhuzh it up to a cars theme. That would be
yeah, like
pretty cool.
a
Yeah.
race around the island, build your own car kind
Yes!
of thing.
Sure.
Yes! Oh my gosh, yes. Yes, F.
Or just like high octane occupations, so like high like race car driver could be one of them, and
So
then
if you're
the rest of them are
listening,
just
Jeff
like
Probst, take some notes.
Literally giving you free ideas.
yep, yeah. Historically, I've done the best at Harry Potter lore, so I think that would be what I would
Survivor
do the
Harry
best in.
Potter.
Wait, that'd
Yeah,
be so
well,
cool!
you'd have to come up with something. Maybe like fantasy versus fiction. So like, I guess it'd have to be like people who are more imaginative versus people who are like fact strategy based. Maybe something like
Survivor
that.
wizards versus muggles.
Yes.
The
Stop it. That would be such a
yeah,
cool season.
and you could put the like haters of that like that type of genre versus Harry Potter lovers.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
good.
That could be 2 tribes already, or like the neutrals, I guess, the people in the middle. If we wanna do 3 tribes, but I think we should just stick with the 2. Um, that'll be a great one. Harry Potter lore, I love it.
I think I would have
Yeah.
to think about that. I want to answer your question more in the motif of how we see Survivor, like based on like geographical locations. Because I feel like if it's like something more horror oriented too, or like a spooky centric season, if you go with like rather than like a pirate theme, right? Like if you go with like a horror theme, I'd probably feel pretty confident with that. I feel like I'd do decent there.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I interest
You would
you in a
do that,
season?
wow.
This season exists, and its name is Survivor Ghost Island.
Yeah,
Is it
I
about
mean
ghosts?
that'd be
Do
right
they
up
have
my alley.
ghosts?
Can
That
neither
would be
confirm nor deny.
spooky. Oh my
No,
gosh, that
actually,
would be cool.
unfortunately, we will not be watching that season for a long time
I see.
because that season's theme is the ghosts of the past come back to haunt you.
Oh, I see. So it's people that have been
So it's
out.
like it's more like don't make the same mistakes as past contestants. So not necessarily
Mm,
bringing like everybody back, but
wait, what? That's such a like a slap in the face to the person that made the
wow.
mistake and not invited back.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm happy to report I can reveal one of them to you, and you'll probably forget by the time we get to it. Um, I'll fact check this later if I'm wrong. I think this is true. Uh, James's idols are on Ghost Island
No way.
because don't make the mistake that James did in this episode.
Perfect
Like,
lead into this episode.
Yes.
yeah, but yeah, before we'll go chronologically too, but oh, what a disastrous end for James.
You know, it hurts to have one idol in your pocket. It double hurts to have 2 idols in your pocket
I
and go home
yeah,
with that.
I was so upset over this. Like it's not even like necessarily that I'm rooting for James. It's just such a missed opportunity. Like you hate to see someone with the level of protection they have make such a massive blunder, but like, that's the sort of foreshadowing that we were given, right? As soon as someone has those 2 idols, everyone's thinking, okay, like what is their downfall going to look like? Are they going to potentially lose with 1, 2 idols? That's a possibility. right? Is the overconfidence gonna show up? Are they gonna feel like they're protected even without the idol? It just begs the question.
Did you feel like when it was about to unfold, like were you I guess you said no F, but and were you like rooting for him to play it? Like, come on, save yourself, take control of the game, etc.
Yeah, I mean, like, I would assume he would, but I guess I just thought wrong. I mean, I overestimated his ability and
Oh no.
playing Survivor, and sadly, I don't know, was it just he just couldn't figure out that people want to take him out, that he was a pretty large threat, you know? Like, yeah, sure, PG is playing hard, but you got two idols. That is more definitive than playing hard to me, you know? So, I was, like, kinda hoping for him to play it just because I thought he would, but he didn't, and, okay, that tells me that you're not really a good player, you know? I wonder just how many statistically went home with 2 idols, or how many people actually gets 2 idols and goes home with it, I'm just wondering, I'm curious how many people have that in the 49 seasons of Survivor, or is it just James that
It's
ever
a low
has
number.
that?
It's a very, very, very low number because it's hard enough to get one, and like you're probably gonna use it before you even encounter another one. I mean, think about
Yeah,
in the new era right now, it's really hard because like you might find your beware advantage on your beach, but the other ones are on the other beaches. So it would be like someone have to like give it to you. And and
that's
and,
true.
and to be fair, that's what happened, right? Todd gave him one idol, and then he went to his own camp and got the other one.
He had all the power with the 2 idols, but it just, like, it just fell through and not been used, and it's just very disappointing to see, like, these 2 idols that, like, they had clues, people are looking for them, ends up 2 of them in the same person, and this person never uses it, and he goes home with it, and it's never been used. There's no idol in this game.
Yeah,
I
my
think
hope is
I think
the answer. Sorry, my hope is the answer is one in terms of like how many times we
Mhm.
see a repeat of this, because this was just such a big blunder that like like it shouldn't be happening again. It really shouldn't be.
Yeah, the biggest blunders you'd hope are not repeated because everyone watches on TV and so they don't want to be embarrassed like that Survivor player was. So, but obviously, like with one idol that people get voted out without a lot over the years. But I guess maybe that's a regular blunder, not like a huge blunder like this. I think at the time, um, th- what America as a whole is kind of feeling is first of all, James is like like a golden god. Like he's like chiseled out of stone. So he's already like you want to root for him because he just looks amazing. And it had been in the beginning of the game excellent challenges. So you like that. He's a winner. He's on the winning tribe. Then he gets really screwed over by Jamie and PG. So like you feel for him. Like his own team is throwing challenges. Like how dare they? Uh then he turns it around, has 2 idols, and so the idea's like, "Yes, and now with those 2 idols, like, the good guys always win. He's gonna come back and get out like, Jamie's already gone, get out PG, and then ascend to be the winner." So I think a lot of people were saddened by his demise.
So at the time, people were actually really into James? Like, were people, like, anti-PG and anti, like, the other team and everything? It's just curious
At the
how,
very
like,
least,
people see at the
anti-PG and
time, you know?
Jamie.
That's really interesting. That's very interesting.
Um, but but yeah, it's just disastrous, and I think I I found myself not being sad for him just 'cause, like, I never because usually you get voted out with idols, it's like the what could have been. Like, not only are you gone, you could have saved yourself, and also, like, if James uses one idol, now somebody else gets blindsided, which, um, in this case, he voted for PG. PG, by the way, no one talked about it, savvy. She does not vote with the rest of the group. She votes for Todd. And that gives herself one last chance because if James does defend himself with the idol, then it's a tie, 1 vote Todd and 1 vote PG. So at least maybe they would consider voting for for Todd instead of her. Whereas if she doesn't do that, then she just instantly gets voted out because she's the only other person who has a vote. So I thought that was nice by PG. But yeah, we didn't really get James. We do get some James strategy. Well, actually, no, we do get James strategy because it's don't bite the apple. He wants the 5 of them to stay together, so that's his strategy. But we just don't get a strategy that involves his idols. Is the thing.
I think I just wish if he used it, he would have been set. I feel like he would have been really set, but he's just so like stuck onto that. But it's also like, why do you expect that people want to follow you when you're constantly winning, like you are, or one of the people that are constantly like very strong, the top two, and you are also not that close to anybody. I don't find that he's that close to anyone, but I guess like maybe he thought he was close to Todd. Um, mm,
Maybe
Probably say Denise out of anyone, and even then, it's debatable.
Denise. Yeah, that's another one that I have questions about. But so let's start the episode proper. So this, by the way, this was after. We won't be going over it unless maybe we'll do another bonus episode for it. But there was a recap episode, which means at the end of episode 9 there was the tease. We still have business to attend to, so we're doing something else. Then America waits a week, and it turns out it's the recap episode. And in that recap episode, they show that clip again about teasing what's going to happen. And I gotta wait another week, and then we get the answer in episode 11, which was called
I'm not only ready to bite the apple, I am ready to make the whole frickin' pie.
Ready to Bite the Apple, said by Amanda. Who gets a lot of flowers in in this episode. But yeah, it turns out that this big cliffhanger is all for an extra reward challenge. They're gonna do a reward challenge right here, right now, at Tribal Council. So another night challenge, which is rare in and of itself. And it's trivia, like we mentioned before. It's, how I said it earlier. I talked about it was our breaking the ice thing and everything, but are you good with there's a lot of like, it's not an endurance challenge, it's not a obstacle course challenge, it's not a puzzle, it's trivia. There's been a lot like that, I feel, this season.
Yeah, I wasn't sure at first like whether this is the right takeaway, but I felt as though I don't know, like someone like PG, like she would have the advantage against the others, right? Like I thought that going into the challenge, and she did well in the challenge. And I don't know if that's just something where it's one thing to go through the season and maybe most of the hints or the things that you need to know based on the trivia or things that you would learn over the course of the game. But otherwise, like the trivia seems like it's something where like someone might have background knowledge in this based on how they grew up compared to others who might not have that, which would give them an advantage, right? So that was the only issue I took with it, in that like, you get the sense that someone's probably going to do well in it. Someone who's familiar with the culture, who's grown up in that sort of thing. And it's one thing where it's like you learn that over the course of the season. It's kind of like it's teaching you based on the sort of challenges or the things that you're doing in the course of the season. But it didn't seem like what was being asked in the trivia was that. It just seemed like it was more just kind of broader or general knowledge, which someone who's grown up in that sort of culture would be more familiar with.
Yeah, which could be anybody. I mean, like, and it feels a little random, right? Because we even saw like earlier in the season, it just so happens that Jean Robert those Mandarins. So like anybody could just by chance have the knowledge being asked for in this trivia. So I think I feel the same way, where I I don't have anything against trivia challenges, but it doesn't necessarily seem earned in the game. It seems earned outside the game.
Yeah.
Like, what if it had been about the art of war? Remember that? They gave him a book at the beginning of the season. It could have been about
That would have been a good one.
stuff in the
Like recall maybe some of the proverbs or recall like some of the principles that you learn over the course of the book if if they made that like a required reading sort of thing.
Yeah, because like it's I don't know if it's required, but a couple maybe like 2 times in the season, Jeff's been like, "Hey," and like he's hyped up the Art of War type of thing, and some of them read it a little bit. Uh, so maybe, so maybe that could have been. I guess even then, like, what if like coincidentally someone just knows the Art of War? I guess that's possible. Um,
I think that's a great alternative suggestion though, because it shows that, okay, who has the drive to it's it's actually perfect if it's not a required reading because it shows, okay, who's taking the initiative, who doesn't know this, but is actually willing to learn it. And they don't know that, okay, it might come back at some point and benefit us over the course of the season. But then, oh, eventually there's something where, yes, it does come into play. And the fact that I put in the effort to learn this thing that we got pretty much at the start of the season does pay dividends later on. I put in effort, whereas someone might not have. And that's one of those things where, okay, even if someone has background knowledge in that, we're all given an opportunity to there's an olive branch that's been extended to us that we're not aware of at first, but we're taking every opportunity and everything that's being given to us, we're taking seriously. And that's what sets apart a good survivor from a bad one.
what do you think about the trivia challenges, Ange?
Oh, I enjoyed it. I know that it's like, oh, it's not the same in terms of the physical aspect of it, but I mean, later on there were some physical aspect of running around back and forth, which is a stamina endurance type of thing. Um, I think it fit well with the theme. I'm a sucker for a theme, as I said before, and these trivia's. I mean, I was enjoying myself answering along with them, trying to see if I knew. So I personally liked it. It adds on to a little extra element, and I enjoy it personally.
There's part of them that I like better than a puzzle because a lot of puzzles are hard for me to play along with.
Mhm. Mhm.
Especially maybe, like, in the very beginning, like, the puzzles are simpler, so I can, like, look at it and start thinking about where pieces go, but, I mean, definitely not now, the puzzles are a lot harder. Um, I just noticed I mean, usually we get 0, so obviously we've had maybe, like, 3
Yeah.
trivia-based challenges, so maybe at least in the last, like, 4 episodes, there's been 3 of them. Before that, maybe there was another one at some point, but,
Yeah.
uh
I guess currently there's only so many Fiji trivias that you could ask
Oh,
until
yeah, sure.
somebody just mass studies when they get in, they're like, "Oh, I've studied." Like there's like the people from like doing the challenges at home or getting their old puzzles. If they do trivia, it'll be like, "I bought 50 books on Fijian like history and all that stuff and I know it all."
Yeah, talk about super
Yeah.
fan.
Yes.
But in the end, it is PG that wins this challenge at Tribal Council, and she has to pick 2 people to go with her to the Shaolin Temple, which ends up being Eric and Denise. Eric, the only other John Who, and then Denise, who is probably the most likely person to be on their side for like flip on the allies, and also uh there were kind of hints that like they knew this was something that Denise would like because I think Eric is like, oh, like right, you get to do your kung fu stuff. So Denise may have talked about this, not knowing there'd be a reward about it, but so I think that was good. That was you would think that someone would appreciate thinking of them. Uh, so it seemed like a good choice. And then we get like we actually get a lot like in terms of like screen time. It could have been like 10 whole minutes like at the reward. Uh, which looked really good. Jeff hyped it up, and then the confessionals are really um, owning in that very few people are even allowed to go do this. Like at least at the time, it's not like you look it up on the travel guide. And it's just like a vacation you can do. So it's really like limited access.
Yeah, I just thought this was a really cool reward, right? Just not only being able to enjoy the culture, getting a private jet to take you there, getting some good food, getting to learn something, and then just having a better night's sleep than back in camp where things don't seem to be the best, and I believe that was the night where it started raining into the morning. So this was an awesome challenge reward win.
Yeah, we haven't been ranking like rewards, but I mean, it's safe to say that the rewards of this season has been excellent compared to what we get nowadays.
Yeah, no doubt.
It's giving, like, experience, it's not just, like, a food challenge, it is giving, you get to go to this place where nobody goes or very rare or going to this, like, parts and meet these people and learn their culture. It just feels very different compared to the current ones. It's just like food, 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 food. Let me just gorge you with a bunch of food, you know? I read on Reddit, they were saying, like, current season just feels like a fancier version of a fast for some people. Like, they fast for a bit, and then it's another reward, and then it's another reward, it's another reward, and I'm not saying it, I'm just saying there's people on Reddit there, it's like, for an example, Eve from last season, all she did was, like, she had so many rewards that she won, or she was picked so many times that it wasn't Survivor, versus, like, I don't know, the days are shortened, in the current one, so, I don't know, I feel like people probably feel that way in terms of the amount of reward challenges versus current ones, the one like today, there were food and they did eat, but I think it was bigger than that. It was more of the experience of going to a village, of people like able to do kung fu, and like Denise was able to show off like her kung fu skills to the kids that did not seem impressed for a moment.
But there was like a flat stare from this little girl.
Yeah, yeah.
too.
It was like a stare of like, what is she doing? But I'm sure Denise, you're great, better than I could do any of those things. So I love it. Amazing. So I feel like it's just different, the experience is different versus just now it's just simply food. Period.
I think, especially like we have more because I think a criticism of the first like 40 seasons of the show is when they do things like this, it does take a long time. So, like, how did the story of my television show advance in all these scenes? And with only like 40 something minutes to talk about it, sometimes it could be like too much. But now we got an hour and a half of a show. It feels like we'd have enough time to have that and do that. Plus, when the more when the reward is food plus food and like a once in a lifetime experience, the people who don't get picked are just going to be that much more bitter, and that is good TV and moves the game along too. Um, in this case, I think the main thing that the rest of the people back at camp, so that's Courtney, Todd, Amanda, and James, not really bitter, but more just like, do you think they're gonna try to like flip Denise? Like they were just like they tried to confirm that it's gonna be the four of them at the end, and this is when Amanda in confessional reveals to us that she said yes, but actually she doesn't. She's not confident she can defeat any of them. Which, by the way, means that she's saying that about James. She's saying that about Todd, and saying that about Courtney. So I don't know. Maybe Amanda actually thinks Courtney's got a good chance, or she's just being nice, I
Hmm.
guess. But at the end of the day, she's saying she's not satisfied with just being the final four, and begins to start thinking about what can she do about it. Kind of talking about James specifically, but what's she gonna do about it?
Yeah, I think it's good that she has that level of self-awareness. I was going in thinking the same thing that Amanda, like you're looking at some of the people who are potentially going to the end, and what exactly does Amanda have going for her? And I'm not quite sure. So to be able to ask that question and look around and see what your options are, I think for now she feels like she's at the bottom, and she's got to do something, right? Like she's got to be able to do something that sets her apart from the other contestants, and even if they might not have major wins themselves, at least they have screen time, or at least they're making some moves, or at least they're driving some votes, or at least they're influencing opinions. I can't necessarily say the same for Amanda so far. So for me, the thing was, okay, like what is she going to do to change that narrative? If she's aware of that, like how is she going to change her game to adapt and make it to the end?
I
Yeah,
agree.
I think a distinction too is I don't know that she thinks she's on the bottom. She might be confident that with this configuration of people, she can be sitting at the end, but she doesn't think she'll win. Whereas someone like Denise later is worried that she won't make it to the end because she's on the bottom of the alliance, and so when it comes down to just them, they'll be voted out. So slightly different. But go ahead, Anne. Sorry.
Oh, no, I was just saying I agree with that. I actually think that, like, Amanda really I think that Amanda and Courtney don't really have much on their resume. Like, it feels very to me where I'm like, they clearly haven't really done a whole lot. Like, they chat about it. I mean, give her credit. She did talk about taking out James. So I think that is to her credit. She did do that, which is great. But I do think that she's right. Like, if she's in the final three, final two, whatever, two or three, whatever. But and man, I just don't think that she would beat someone like Todd or even like PG. I don't think she would beat PG because PG has clawed her way through to win, you know? And um yeah, I just don't think Amanda has much to show so far. So I'm curious what's going to happen in the next like few episodes that we have left is that like what is she going to do to make herself um be more attractive to win that like to win $1 million to the jury.
Well, the good news is I think she made a good enough difference in this episode.
That's true.
Uh,
Taking out James, right? Like be able to spearhead that is a big deal.
yeah, yeah. So definitely, honestly, and just because of how unexpected that was and how protected he was and how big of a threat he was, to me, that skyrockets her rankings. Like, if I'm thinking originally that she's at the very bottom, I might not necessarily say, okay, she's number one now, but I think she has, like, that could be the game winning play that she could talk about now that before she didn't really have anything to go on.
Yeah, I think that you can never fully predict what the jury's going to ask you, but you have to think the one question you're going to get asked at some point is, what did you do to deserve $1 million? Like, tell me something you did. So you want to at least have something to say. And now she has something to say. Now, arguably, I mean, her and Todd together have done a lot of stuff. I mean, she's even overruled Todd before in different things. The question is just like how visible has that been? Because the advantage of being under the radar is you're not a target, but the disadvantage is like no one knows you're doing it. So it's pros and cons there. Um,
Very true.
so it's good that she has that now. We'll go through the final five at the end of this. So hold your full opinions for a little bit. Um, the immunity challenge. Oh, sorry. The reward challenge was called Confucius Said, by the way, even though I don't think any of that was about any
Yeah.
old proverbs or anything, but
What a
all
name.
right.
What?
uh, the immunity challenge is called Starstruck, and this is when you are gonna have I don't know. I think they're supposed to be like shurikens, but actually they might just be stars. I didn't like analyze exactly how they crafted them, but at the end of the day, you are throwing this ranged weapon at a target and like darts, and you're trying to get the most points. Uh, how do you like the Starstruck challenge?
I thought it was cute. It reminds me of when you go axe throwing. And,
Yes.
I
As
had
we
an
all do.
opportunity actually when I went axe throwing at, I think it was Pittsburgh, no, Philadelphia when I went to sell my friend, and the people there actually was like there's add-ons. You could throw knives and stars. So it was
Oh my god.
I'm like, how many times in your life can you ever say you throw knives and stars, you know? Like axe throwing, yes, people have done it. There's many of places there, but this place specifically had that, and it's hard. It is really hard to land that. So I can see how it's difficult to land it as well as to, like, aim it too, but I really liked it. I thought it was fun.
So, quick question on that. Was this like legitimately an axe or and a knife, or was it like some custom made one specifically designed for throwing?
Wait, are you talking about this challenge or the one where I went?
The what you're describing, the axe throwing.
Oh, the asteroid. It was a knife. It was a knife, like, knife to throw out. Like, it was not an axe or anything. It looked like a knife. It was
Oh,
a knife that we threw. and the star too. It looked just like the ones that I in this challenge. There are different ways to throw,
Got it.
like when you go to axe throwing, they say to go above your head and like do the whole like step forward and then let go. This one was just the flick of the wrist type of thing in front of you and you just throw it out. It was pretty cool.
Very nice.
Yeah, basically, they are the type of things that if you're prepared to go to jail for life, you could try to kill somebody with them.
Oh my gosh, yeah. You
Let's
gotta
let,
your
let's not
inner
go down that
demons,
route.
like go
Like
right now.
they're not like toys.
No,
Like,
yeah, they're for real, for real. They
No,
for real.
I wasn't thinking that. I just like if you're looking at just like a standard knife, like a kitchen knife or anything like that, like that's not you can throw it, but it's not like designed to
No,
be
it
thrown.
looked like
But like
real.
there's
It
some
was like real. Like it looked
that
like the ones that I wouldn't know like the configurations of how a real throwing knife is, but it looked like a real throwing knife.
got it. I just meant like is it like it probably like is like a lighter knife, right? Rather than like a standard knife that is meant to be
Probably,
thrown.
right? Because I didn't really move it much and I was able to throw it, so I
Yeah.
would
I mean,
think so,
that's probably like if you
right?
think about it, like in the time before guns and drones and such, when you have like melee weapons, probably the person who chooses to fight with knives didn't choose their kitchen knife. So you're right; they probably like had something forged specifically for throwing. You're probably right about that, and that's what these emulate. Um, but back to Survivor. It is Eric who wins this. Did anyone surprise you at how good or how bad they were at this though?
At first I was surprised by PG, like just in the sense that like she was failing to hit anything, and my first impression was, wow, this must be really hard. Like I've never personally done something like that, but she was like her first throw like just went straight to the ground. Like it didn't even go horizontal. So uh it looked like it was pretty difficult, and then just like every other contestant who came up after her at least got one hit in on a target and were relatively close on their other throws, and that just made it seem like PG was just like off balance or something, and it wasn't as hard as it actually looked when everyone else was at least somewhat close to the target.
Gotcha. Um, but well done, Eric, and clutch win too, because obviously, like as far as they know, Eric and PG grave danger from now on. Um, at
Super
this
clutch.
point,
Yeah. They
yes, at
definitely did
this,
not need James to win this. Like that would have had bad repercussions, especially
oh
for
yeah,
what they're trying to do.
yeah. This is when Amanda really puts her plan into high gear. Um, she talks to Courtney, which I couldn't really tell if that went anywhere. Courtney kind of was like, "Oh yeah, sure," without things. That was kind of whatever. But also eventually talks to Todd, which seems to be the most important to talk to. Um, everyone's like tentatively like, okay, we can see your vision, Amanda. All right. Um, even PG, right? Like PG separately has come up with her own plan, and funnily enough, confronts Amanda about it. So how do you think that Amanda handled that interaction?
Just the dialogue with PG.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think she played her cards right. She understood the situation and was properly relaying to PG that you're with us or you're against us. And she wasn't like doing it in a way that like, okay, like I'm trying to coerce you to vote a certain way. She's just telling her that like, let's just think about things. You're not in the best position. So the best thing for your game is just put some trust in me for now. You don't necessarily even have to do anything. She's implying to her without outright saying it that the vote, like, we're going to put the vote on you or make it seem like the vote's going to be on you, but really we're trying to get James out. Like, you're essentially just going to be the bait there.
Yeah. The
'Cause-
way it was communicated was like it wasn't like I felt like she was kind of teetering in terms of okay, I'm not making it seem like I'm working with you, but I'm also not saying you're going to go out, so don't freak out too much, you know? But she wasn't like it wasn't like a I don't know how to explain it. It was like a mix of, like, she wasn't trying to make it seem like she's on PG's side. You know, like, some people are like, "Don't worry, you're with us." I don't feel like
Yeah.
Amanda gave that vibe. Amanda didn't want that. Like, don't want PG to think, "We're together. We have a bigger, like, fish to fry currently, so you're okay." But it doesn't mean that we're together, though,
I
which I
like that
think
about it. I
yeah,
like that it
it's
was genuine
honest.
in that sense.
Yes, it's honest, and I think that would go well if she was final 2 or 3 for the juries because it's like, you're not fake.
Yeah, it was just weird because PG is the one that approached Amanda. PG, we didn't get to see all of it because of like the editors presented the story and the story is Amanda's plan, but PG separately, I believe, was attempting to do the same thing. Like she wanted to approach Amanda about targeting James, and she's even like, "Do you know like who has the idols? Did you even know they were their idols?" Which the answer is yes. Amanda did know that, and that could have
Yes,
spiraled out of control,
that's true.
right?
As a
Like,
matter of fact, yes, I do.
yeah, like Amanda, because I don't know, this could just be the way they both talk. It's like from PG, it kind of felt like, "Did you even know? Like I know, so I'm the one telling information." But then from Amanda, it's like, "Yeah, I did, dummy." She didn't say that part, but
Yeah,
there was
stupid. No, I'm kidding. It
so I
took you
feel
long
like this
enough.
this could have spiraled. Like imagine
Could have,
another
but it didn't,
timeline.
though.
Yeah, imagine a timeline where PG is like, "Well, fine, you're gonna be giving me attitude. Hey, James, guess what? They're coming for you." And then he does play their idol, and it's disaster for Amanda.
Yeah, that would be. But I think it worked out in terms of they didn't do that, and I'm surprised, though, because PG isn't that, like, I get confused on what she's thinking sometimes, just like how when she was talking to Denise and Austin? Austin? In the final
Eric, our
in
good
their Eric,
friend
sorry.
Eric.
I'm sorry, Eric. My bad, Eric.
Oh no,
Um,
gone the
um,
same way as
I
Aaron.
know. Oh my god. So when they were in their reward, Peachy's like, "Oh, we're final 3," and then she kind of made it seem like James would vote with them, and I'm just like, "Why are you still saying that? In what way do you think James likes you? Like, in what dimension does James like you, Peachy? I don't know why you think that."
Yeah, that was odd. PG, a lot of the moves felt like net negatives, but a lot of the strategy, like unlike some other people, it feels like her head is always in the game though. Uh, and I don't know, maybe is your opinion shifting at all? And the longer she survives, does your opinion like get better of PG?
Well, I
Mm.
had a relatively positive opinion about her, like, at the start that, like, I saw that she's competitive. My concern became, is she being too aggressive? Because clearly it's turning some people the wrong way. She was one of the original winner picks that I had. So I did see that there was an opportunity with her to be able to make it pretty far, even with the small sample size. It's still like there's still a lot that she has to work around, and public opinion of her is not too positive. But, if you were to tell me that, like, at the end of the season, she's one of the winners, that would be one of the less surprising things.
Okay, okay. Um, but like you said, they tell PG to don't do anything, basically keep cool, but also like act like you're gonna go home. Keep James comfortable. James does say he's bringing his idols this time, which are at least it's better than another tribal where he didn't bring them. Uh, but he doesn't play either of his idols, and one vote Todd, one vote PG, and 5 votes James. James voted out with both idols in his pocket. We see the jury reactions too, along with everyone. Oh man, what could have been? We've talked about the folly of James already, but do you have any interest in seeing like a redemption story of James if he ever returned?
No, no, this is too big of a blunder to just I just don't want to see that again.
It's like you blew your chance. Never again.
Uh, I agree. That's a nar for me.
It's
Like,
not even
for
necessarily
sure.
that I'm expecting him to win. It's the fact that, like, he absolutely had no reason to be going home today. But, I mean, like, and if, like, it just comes across as, like, you're letting some sort of overconfidence or cockiness get you through. And, yeah, for that reason, I don't want that sort of contestant with that mentality to come back just because they'll be pretty predictable. You can bait them and get them eliminated in a similar way.
Fair enough. Fair enough. The last thing I'll say about James is that it is 100% clear that he is the biggest physical threat in the game. But so far, in the post-merge, there have been very few physical challenges, interestingly enough. Like, we finally got one in the episode after this one, which is the run the whole course through, like, the swampy mud water, which is going to exhaust you. But, surprisingly, not a lot of just, like, use your strength to win challenges. So maybe he kind of got a tad unlucky there.
I feel like we would have concerns with the season if that was the direction it took, because it would feel like in a season where, yeah, there's this big guy right here, the rest of the cast for the most part is pretty scrawny, right? Like, it just puts everyone else at a disadvantage.
You're not wrong, but that hasn't stopped the show before. I'll just say that.
Ooh, spoilers. Okay.
I mean, that was like, even the season we did see, right? Ozzy just crushed everyone because there were so many water challenges.
But, like, compare his build to, like, James. You're not gonna, like, look at him and be like, oh, like, this guy's like some, like, chiseled Greek god the way that James is.
Well, it's their fault for judging or not judging by their cover, I guess. So that leaves us with 6 people left, almost at the end. And so we go to episode 12, which was called
Todd was going for the Oscar.
Going for the Oscar,
That was
which is Courtney
controversial
expressing her
take.
doubt. Yeah, that Todd. So this is in regard. This is we get the loved ones visit, and every time we see this, I miss not having it in the present day seasons. But um, Todd's sister, one of his sisters, is there, and he asks how it's going back home with everybody. Everybody good, and he finds out that his younger sister has miscarried, according to his older sister, which is terrible, and like he's like emotional about that. Of course, Jeff has to ask about this, kind of exactly the same way that played out in Pearl Islands. That drama where Jeff has to ask about it, so now they're telling everybody. Now, the show didn't officially answer it either way. So, but in the moment, I mean, did you have the concerns that Courtney had? Even Eric also doubted.
Yeah, I mean, it's a valid concern since we've seen what Jonny Fairplay did, right? Like, and some people have a win at all cost mentality where they will stoop to that level to try to win.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a mix on that because it is really sad with his sister's miscarriage. But yeah, if you had a history, about the dead grandma, you're kind of like, oh, are you getting it to get some I guess, like, sympathy so they will pick you to take you along with the reward. It's hard. I thought it was very, I just chuckled because I feel like current seasons, they wouldn't do that. They wouldn't be like, "Oh, can you believe he just, like, acted and pretend to be all sad?" Like, they wouldn't say they'll be like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, like, that's so sad." I just feel like, it's just, it was funny to hear them talking about it, um, behind his back.
Courtney just has no filter at all. Like, I know that, like,
Yes.
this is a serious topic, but the way she's imitating Todd was objectively hilarious to hear.
Yes, it was.
Even
It
though, like,
was.
the subject is serious.
Yes, the subject is serious, and it is a very serious topic, and that's not funny. However, Courtney's reaction made it funny in a way. Like she was hilarious. The way she's saying it. She has no Fs. Ha, get it? She gives no Fs. She doesn't care. And she's just simply like, whatever. He is such a Oscar-winning performance here, trying to win all like the all the vibes and getting Jeff to be like, "Oh, tell me more." I just feel like Jeff eats it up. Jeff loves a good family cry. I loves a little sad story. And I think like the whole grandma lying thing is so hated on by him because it's such like it was so real. Like he loved that if it was real. And then the fact that he was using it as sympathy and faking it out, it's not good. And he does not like that.
My thing is, I'm not sure. I guess it's untested for now at this point in history. Like, is the lie useful? So for Jonny Fairplay, what happened is everyone besides Sandra basically conceded the challenge. They just kind of allowed Johnny and his friend to win. So it got them a reward challenge win. In this case, uh, Denise picked Todd and his sister to go, so it also got Todd, if that's the reason Denise picked him, a win. So is that a useful enough thing to have this elaborate scheme, if it's a scheme? And I guess
It's
maybe. I mean, good things can happen at a reward, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those if it works, it works kind of thing, but it like just because it's been done before and people can see how someone can take advantage of you, like if you're familiar and watching Survivor, then it's relatively risky, right? Like just because people now have doubts, if you're just trying to Courtney's point, like yes, like she was pretty blunt about it, but she has a point in that if you're going through this and making sure that like you're just trying to make it to the end, what are one of the things that you can do? Like you could try to bring people to like, even if you're not necessarily winning a challenge, if someone feels bad for you, that may be a reason why they'll essentially bring you to a challenge with through a challenge win with them. So it's just giving you a sort of advantage if you want to risk, putting a story out there. Now, mind you, like I myself was concerned about that when he mentioned it. And Todd later on does reveal that like, no, I'm not bullshitting. Like that actually did happen. So I'm glad in the sense that not that happened, of course, but I'm glad that he was genuine about that sort of thing. And it shows you the two sides of Survivor where people share those stories and they're just doing it, just to be competitive in the game, even if it's not rooted in reality. In this case, we're seeing the opposite where like, yes, the output's the same. Like he's still sharing the story about something but bad happening where it could give him sympathy votes, but for him, it's real. Like it actually happened. So I'm glad it wasn't a repeat of the Jonny Fairplay situation in that sense.
I will say I was doing some research and like I found like a podcast that was coming out at the time in the 2007. At the moment, like at that moment, what they know is that Todd in confessional says that it's real. And since it's in confessional, he has no specific reason to lie to us. But they did question if he's just sticking to the bit. Like he's taking it even on camera as to not reveal he's a liar type of thing. So officially at this point, America does not know for sure if it's a scheme by him and his sister. However, they did point out, and I will also point out, that in Jonny Fairplay's case, he couldn't wait to reveal that it was a scheme. So the question is, if it was a scheme, would Todd feel the same way, where like he just has to tell somebody and talk about it, at least in confessional, or would he be so deep in the scheme that he would actually lie, even in confessional? So that's the situation you're left with at this point. And we'll see if it matters, because let's just say it's completely truthful. Well, at the moment, it would seem that Courtney and Eric didn't believe him. So, and then PG didn't. We didn't get to hear her thoughts on it because the three of them were all sitting together. That could be a problem if like you're looking for people to vote for you at the end, and at that point, I guess your only hope is to convince them either before or at Final Tribal. Then, if you find yourself there, but we'll see if that ends up mattering. But that, I guess, you know what, we could just do that whole scene. So that was they all get to the reward challenge, which is called Marco Polo, where you and a partner, Jeff is coy, doesn't say like who's your partner going to be, are going to be blindfolded, and you're at two ends of a maze, and your goal is to get to the center, and then your partner to also get to the center, and then together you walk on top of the platform to win. And he's like, "All right, Eric, you're going to be partnered with your mom," and then they reveals
Yeah.
that the loved ones were here.
Yeah, very quick,
Which,
very
was cool.
casual way to bring it up. At first, I was like, "Oh man, Jeff is stooping to those like your mom jokes." But no, like it's just his mom then just pops out, and you're like, "Okay, well." Unlike in like other seasons, we've seen this come up where Jeff kind of has like a bit that gets into it. This was like very prompt. It was just like, okay, we're starting the challenge. These are the people with you. Oh, they're your family members.
Yeah, usually it's like in the game of Survivor, there's few things better than this kind of reward. Everyone looking for some love. Come on out, and then like the person, that's usually his little script he goes on. So Eric's mom Denise comes out. PG's dad Lawrence is there. Amanda's sister Katrina, Todd's sister Brandy, Denise's husband Robert, who nearly falls a couple different times in this episode, but never fully falls. And Courtney's English dad, Graham.
That's where you're wrong. Robert does fall. He falls in love with his wife Denise.
All over again.
Oh, that's too sweet. Stop.
They were very cute together. Everybody was great, I think.
I always love these moments. I'm also a sucker for the family moments. I wish they do that again. I wish they were able to fly the families in there to see them, but that would be great. You know, the
I'd also
letters
like
just
to
don't hit the same, you know?
I'd also like to mention they did bring in something new to this challenge, at least for me. Jeff brought out a Sprint BlackBerry phone,
Oh, yeah.
sponsored by Sprint.
Oh my gosh. What a throwback. Like I'm like, "Whoa, Sprint?"
Like, does that even
Sprint.
exist anymore?
It just
Well,
throwback
I
when
mean,
I used to
Sprint
have
isn't that old. We only lost Sprint
well,
like 5 years ago or so.
I know, but I
Well,
just
that's a long
I
time.
That, actually.
that's true. But I do remember when my mom we had AT&T and my mom was thinking about changing to make it a little cheaper, right? Throwback AT&T. Does anybody know that? But anyways, I remember my mom was like, "Let's do Sprint." And I almost cried. I was like, "Sprint sucks. I don't want Sprint." Please.
Team
Because my mom
Verizon.
was talking
That's
about how
where it's at.
AT&T was so bad already. Like it's already bad and let's find something cheaper but also better. And she comes up with Sprint. And I'm like, "No, mother. No, not Sprint. Anything but Sprint." So we did T-Mobile because we are too poor for that bougie life of Verizon. So here we are with T-Mobile. But yeah, Sprint, that just gave me and then I love how they like have them in the middle of like the water and have signal to call. I'm like, "I don't believe you. I have no signal with like I believe back in the day in Sprint, you can't even get signal at a mall. I could count on that."
Well, maybe you need a
Yeah.
special Survivor Sprint phone,
That's
which is
true,
that
yes.
BlackBerry.
They put
The
all the towers
BlackBerry.
just for this big BlackBerry Sprint. That moment.
Not sponsored.
Not
Yeah,
sponsored.
I questioned that. I was like, is that true? Do you get just like on the Lake of 1,000 Islands, wherever they are, which I think where they are, can you call back to America? And then the time difference too, like if it's the daytime over there, is it the middle of the night? But I'll take it at face value. I mean, it didn't seem like Denise was pretending, like she was listening to a recording and then answering as if it was real. So I guess it worked. This is also the drama. So PG does not appreciate not being taken on this, and technically you could say this for any reward challenge. But Ange, you're the one who said it first. winning the loved ones challenge, tough. That's a tough thing.
Yeah, like a normal reward is like, okay, you miss out food, you miss out experience, but the loved one, oh gosh, I would purposely lose. I would be like, please don't win, please don't win, because I don't want to pick because I know I'm gonna make enemies. I just know it. No matter, even though you're forced, even though the players are aware that Jeff can only pick two. Jeff wants us to only pick two. They're still gonna blame you, and I don't want that. I'm okay. Goodbye.
Yeah, so because Denise and her husband win, she picks Amanda and Todd. Um, the focus turns to Denise now. So Denise, I think, is in a different situation than PG, where PG, both of you have kind of said, although she's in danger every single time, should she be at the end, she's got something to work with. Whereas Denise is in less danger, but we are worried about what she has to work with at tribal council. So with that in mind, is there a different combination of I guess, but what I'm really trying to ask is, what should Denise's plan be for the end? Because ultimately, it seems like I think she actually tells Robert, her husband, this is be at the end with Todd and Amanda. That's what she says. So, is there a different plan you think she should be attempting?
Mm.
I think her goal should be to make it to the end with, like, realistically, you don't have control over who you decide you get to the end with. So what you can control is the moves you make, like, like your own story, how you then will eventually have to break it down for the judges. So if I was Denise, that would be my focus. What am I going to be able to speak about that sets me apart? And how do I start doing it? Like, the game's not over yet. And if I'm feeling like, I'm going to be dead weight at the end, how do I change that narrative? That's my focus. So it makes it so that no matter who I'm up against, it doesn't matter. My story's not going to change. I'm going to have to make sure I put myself in a position where I can consistently get votes.
I interpret that to mean she needs to change her status quo. Like, if she continues doing the same thing she's been doing, she has not changed her position.
Yeah.
So, whatever that means to her, but you also, but I understand it's scary. Like in a world where her plan is to vote out Todd, Amanda, or Courtney, then obviously, like, you've made them horribly mad, which is not good, because if they all go on the jury, they might not vote for you. And then, can you beat Eric and PG? So it's not easy, but this is the dilemma. I mean, every single season, there's somebody who gets criticized for not doing what we the fans want, because usually that's the fans, we just want things to change all the time. So you didn't change it up. How could you? So the question becomes, like, would changing it up have actually been beneficial for Denise? And in this case, in the middle of the episode, she's not thinking that, because she brought Todd and Amanda, the people she wants to be with at the end. So it seems like she's still on board with that group. So it'll be interesting. Well, if that continues to play out, if she changes her mind, or if it works out for her. Um, the loved ones do come back to the camp, by the way, which already some of them were like, oh god, we have to do a challenge. Like, they didn't expect that. And now they also have to spend the night at the camp, which is another problem. Or at least
Right.
spend time. I don't know how long they were at the camp, but
Yeah. If I was the Lobo, was like, I was just gonna say hello. I was just gonna drop by and say hi, do a challenge. Sure. Want me to stay there? No thanks.
I'm trying to remember in the other season, the Jonny Fairplay season, did they have their loved ones? Didn't they have, like, better sleeping accommodations? Like, they didn't come back to the same camp, did they?
what happened in that? So his friend just went with him alone to the camp, and the rest of them, I thought they
I don't know
just
why I
went
was
home.
Yeah, I don't know why I was thinking that yeah, I'm just thinking about the friend who came back. Like, did he have better sleeping accommodations, or was it?
I just they might not. They don't always stay the night. They might have just left before, like, not stayed over anywhere. Um, I just remember both of
Yeah,
them laughing on the beach with each other. Is my memory of that.
yeah, fair enough.
Uh, The only other thing before we get to immunity is Denise and PG do try to talk it out a little bit, like because PG's is bitter that she wasn't picked. The favor was not returned. Granted, I mean it's not like there was any social contract here. Like they didn't. There's, I guess, at best it was like an unspoken contract. Like you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But maybe it was smoothed over. They at least don't outwardly hate each other. But I think it's just because Peachy knows, like, to do anything, she'll need people on her side. So let me not, like, burn a bridge of somebody, even if I don't like them. Which, good for
Yeah.
Peachy. That's a
Yeah,
smart move.
it's I'm gonna be pretty honest. I was a little surprised Denise didn't take her. That like
Me too.
I'm a little confused as to why she wouldn't take her. I feel like that would have been better in solidifying a relationship for her. That just as you said, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. And for someone who is at least winning challenges, who could serve as a shield in front of you, where you feel like you don't know where you stand. This gives her a good opportunity to work out a game plan, try to do something that sets herself apart, and then know she has a good relationship that she's building towards the end with PG, who, yes, it could be risky to take her to the end, but like, you don't have to worry about like ruffling her feathers right now, where, if she's continuing to win and you're a swing vote and you're part of the minority, she herself is going to consider voting you out. It eliminates that concern. So I thought strategically it would have made more sense for her to just bring in PG. So I was a little confused why she didn't.
Indeed. Immunity challenge, which is called Swamp Donkeys. So all 6 of them are going to be attached to a rope, and they have to run through. It is an obstacle course, but the main obstacle is actually just the swamp and like the muddy water. And then the rope is like kind of tied up and around posts, so like you then have to follow the rope to get yourself around those posts. And your goal is to get to the end. And when you're at the end, there's it's more trivia. It's like there's like a lockbox with a question, and it's actually like a true false. So one side will say the Chinese invented wheelbarrows, and the other one is like the Chinese invented fortune cookies. And then whichever one you think is true, you take that key and run back through that same obstacle course back to the beginning and try the key. If it works, you got it right. If it doesn't, you got it wrong. You have to go all the way back to go get the other key. So even though it's trivia, again, like you said, Ange, it is also this like stamina challenge of having to get through all this. And it is mostly Todd and Amanda for most of it. Eventually, Amanda gets a question wrong, and so it looks like Todd's got it in the bag. But he gets the last question wrong, which looks like was Chinese checkers versus
Oh man.
was it fire? I forget what it wasn't fireworks. It was gunpowder, maybe.
Gunpowder.
Yeah. And I guess he thought it was not a trick question, but in fact, it was a trick question, as UF looked up that, in fact, Chinese checkers hails from
Germany.
the
And
Germans.
the funny thing is, I was like being sarcastic as we were watching the challenge. I'm like, oh, like, yeah, I wonder where Chinese checkers and like I was joking about that. I'm like, yeah, like let's just watch that it's like made in Germany or something. I was making a joke before even realizing it. And then we realized that, oh no, Todd did choose that and he was wrong, which led the pathway for PG to eventually win the challenge. And then I'm like, okay, like now I'm curious. Like, okay, it's called Chinese checkers. Where did it actually originate from? I searched that up, and lo and behold, it actually is Germany. So the joke ended up being true.
It was wild. Who knew? But big, like you mentioned, big win by PG. It is extremely likely to have been her if she had not won. So another clutch win.
Yeah.
And that leaves Eric in grave danger. But what PG and Eric try to do is to convince. They really only try this on Denise, and they tell Denise, "You are in a group of 4, but you're at the bottom of that 4. So, like, in other words, when there's only 4 of you left, they're going to vote for you, and you're going to end up in 4th place. But if you join us, there's 3 of us, so at the worst case scenario, you would end up in 3rd place. Isn't 3rd place better than 4th place? And that's their pitch. So, what'd you think of their attempt to save themselves, or at least save Eric?
It's just noise. I didn't read too much into it. Didn't have an opinion of that. I was just, whatever strategy I had, not really changing it based on what they're telling me.
Yeah, you're just like, whatever. Another
Pretty much.
person to tell me something, to sell me something, and not working.
It's probably one of the best things they could have tried, but without advantages or idols, there's only like a limited things you can do. Though, you know what? I take that back. In a social game, I guess there's unlimited things you can try. It's just your imagination at that point where you could talk to them. I think it was right. Whatever you're gonna attempt it on Denise. Like you're definitely not gonna try Todd and Amanda. And then maybe I guess Courtney's hard to read because although she's volatile, I guess it's hard to know what pitch would actually get her to act. So it'd be tricky. Um, and then Todd and Amanda, although strategic players, and so like in theory you could convince them if you made a strategic argument. I don't know that there is a strategic argument that would make them want to vote with you. So yeah, Denise is probably the best person to try it on. Uh, maybe they could have gone with a sympathy, like, I really thought you were gonna take me. It would this would maybe like if it would make me feel better. Like if you joined with us, I feel like you need to since you denied me on the reward challenge. Like maybe guilt her, maybe would have been better. But
I don't know if
whatever
guilty
they
would have been
tried,
better. I don't think it would have
Guilty.
worked. I don't think it would have
Guilt
been
her.
better.
I'm interested to hear how you would. Do you have an example of how you would go about doing that, Will?
Man, Denise, I really thought you were a better person when I met you. I thought you would have like a
Oh
great role
my
model to all the
gosh.
kids at the school. But then after I brought you to like your favorite challenge, you didn't bring me with you. I was disappointed. And she'd have some response like, "No, I know, I know you're a great person, but we could really do this together. Like we could change the narrative right here, and like America would see you as this hero if we take down
America.
the hated Todd and
Wait a
Courtney and
minute.
everyone." Yeah, so yeah,
I
there's my
like it.
guilt trip attempt.
It's
Uh,
better than how it went, yeah. So that's it's
yeah,
nice.
their attempt, but don't you think like on paper, like it does make sense? Their strategy is to use logic. Like I said, they're saying you're gonna be 4th. Why don't you be 3rd place instead? That's basically at the end of the day, that's what they're saying.
Yeah, but I got to be thinking like I don't know that. Like why am I like aiming to be 4th? Like forget that.
Well, third, they're saying, but I guess you're right that it comes down to Denise doesn't agree. She thinks she's gonna be at worst 3rd place already. Like she thinks she's above Courtney, and that might be true.
Yeah.
But um, whereas like she doesn't really. I mean, by default she'd be 3rd, but she's not like she knows much about PG and Eric's. For all she knows, like next vote they're gonna vote. They're gonna work with Courtney and get somebody else out. So yeah, it makes sense. Um. And in fact, Denise doesn't go with them, and so it does end up being 2 votes Todd and 4 votes against Eric. I will say that part of the problem is that PG and Eric want Denise to force a tie, like make it 3 versus 3. And in the event, as far as they know right now, a lot of the ties in Survivor history had been at the final 4. And so at that point, they do some kind of, often it's fire making, but whatever they do to break that tie, um, very few times before there has been a tie before that. But when it did happen, it's exactly the same as it is in present day. Um, and you revote, except for the people that have votes. And if it's still a tie, then it's a random rock draw, where in this case, Todd and Eric would be safe. So technically, what you're saying is Denise make a tie, and then hope that either Amanda or Courtney flip to our side in the revote, and if not, then gamble that your name will be picked out of the rock draw. And that's a scary thing to ask someone to do, right? But we lose Eric. do you wish to see Eric again?
I would say no. It just, like I generally say, there's a high bar that you need to meet to be able to return, in my opinion. He just, not a bad player, but he just doesn't meet that high bar.
Yeah, for me, that's a nar. Sorry.
Yeah, Eric had at some point at Tribal Council, he said, like, well, Jeff asked, like, have you done everything you can to stay in the game? And he said yes. And I'm like, but have you? And maybe he did. I mean, it's just because, like, we're seeing PG more than Eric. Maybe they're actually working together the whole time, like how Todd and Amanda are working together all the time. But, like, the show is telling me that while PG is pulling off all the stops, Eric is just kind of floating around hoping he survives.
I agree. I don't
Like,
see him doing much play. He's just kind of like, I'm here for now. And I don't know, let's let the games begin and see what happens.
yes, and we have our final 5. So it all comes down to this. Our next episode. So what I'm planning to do is in present day. It's happening for a long time. The finale is with the final 5 people. So that's what I'm doing here. So it's like for us, it's 2 episodes, but it is what is the finale. So the final 5 episodes. What was this? 12. So 13 and 14. Our final 5 of Amanda, Courtney, Denise, PG, and Todd. The I think. Well, you know what? I'll leave it to you. Would you get behind? Like, would you feel satisfied if any of these people won, or are there some of these 5? If they won, you would just be like, "What did we just watch?"
I
I, j-
think ooh, you go. I'm still thinking.
yeah, I
Just thinking.
just, I think I only really currently see a case for Todd and PG,
Mhm.
potentially Amanda. Just like it
Mm.
depends on what she does in the next episode. Amanda, I think, had a really good sequence these last 2 episodes, so she's moved up those rankings. I don't really see a case for Courtney. I don't really see a case for Denise right now. And it just makes me regret that I moved one of my winner picks off PG, because ultimately, if Todd and PG ended up being like the final 2, then I had some pretty
I
good
think I
choices.
think you actually flip flopped to not switching, if I remember correctly.
I thought
I
I
think you
did,
were about to
didn't I?
switch it to James, and then we're like, you know what? No, I'm gonna stick with PG.
Oh, I mean, I'll take. I thought I did switch, but not to James. But I thought I might have switched to someone else. But okay,
I'll go through the tapes. I feel like I remember you just not committing. Like, you know what? I'm going back to. But
but
in
yeah,
fact,
those
I could do that.
2,
Nah.
I think, just because PG's competitive. Todd, I'm getting a little bit concerned about, if I'm being quite honest. He is getting more pressure put on him. But it doesn't change my opinion that I think otherwise he is playing a good game. It's just he's at this juncture being seen as a threat, which, I mean, eventually it's bound to happen.
Yeah, I'll lower the bar a little bit. I just mean, like, is there anyone who like I said, like, you just like, what was this season? Like, I think in the
Denise and
season
Courtney,
49,
I think,
yeah, season 49,
deserve
should
the win.
Christina win, I think our reaction is gonna be like, What? Huh? Why?" Whereas if
Yeah,
the other people win, we might be confused, but we're like, okay, I guess that's plausible.
yeah. If James did not get eliminated, the easy answer would have been Denise, Courtney, and Amanda. Just because, like, I'm thinking back, like, over the course of the season, I'm like, I don't necessarily know what they did, but they somehow ended up winning. Like, that's what makes, like, an odd sort of season for me, where it's like the person wins, but, like, I don't necessarily know what they did to get them there. It's like, if for the most part they just got there because no one saw them as a threat, then that's one thing, but, like, they at least need to have done something on top of that.
By the way, looking at the transcript, and you almost switched to James, but then you said, no, I'm not gonna do that. I'm a ride or die, and you
Hell
stuck with
yeah.
PG.
Wow,
It's my
what a
boy. I mean,
win.
my girl. I was gonna say my boy Peachy. Yeah.
My girl.
I'm feeling pretty
Do you
good
feel the
about
same
those 2
way,
right now.
Ange?
Yeah,
do
I
you feel
honestly,
that
you
you
have
could?
knocked the two people that I agree on. Like it's yeah, I agree with F completely in terms of the only two people that I think deserve the win would be Todd and PG, because I feel like PG has this underdog, we've been losing, fighting my way through and pushing through, like although she is quote in the loser team that lost all their people, she is still fighting amongst them. So that is a really good storyline and also respectable for the jury, you know? Although I don't know how many people like PG though, because her original tribe, I don't know, they tolerated her, not quite liked her, and then her new tribe don't like her. Like they find her annoying, as we see Courtney getting pissed off at her for being even in her cave. Versus I think
Oh yeah.
Todd has a lot of
It's just
likes
Courtney.
from the jury. That's true. I feel like Todd has a lot of likes from everybody, and he's made plays, he's made good relationships. He faltered in regards to his challenges, but it's not all the time where just because you're a good challenge person doesn't mean you're gonna win. So I think those two have been the only two people that I've seen done anything, to be honest. Like Amanda, sure, we see her play a little bit today, like in today's episode where we see her try to get out James, but I truly don't see Courtney doing anything besides, complaining. And also Denise, sadly, she's so sweet, but I don't think she has done anything for me to be like, you are a winner.
Very nice, very nice. Our jury, by the way, to remind you, is Jamie from John Who, John Robert from Fei Long, Frosty from John Who, James from Fei Long, Eric from John Who. So that's 3 from John Who and 2 from Fei Long so far. And then the final 5, 4 of them are Fei Long and 1 of them is John Who in PG. Um, so it is interesting. We'll see who holds grudges, who doesn't hold grudges, who respects what types of game plays. Yeah. So and since you have discovered that you currently have Todd and PG, will you continue to keep both of them, hoping that they face each other at the finals or something?
Actually, I'm gonna do a complete 180 and decide my final two are gonna be Courtney and no, I'm joking. Yeah, I'm gonna stick with those two.
You
Oh,
almost
is
got
that what you
me.
decided?
Oh my
Yes,
goodness.
lock it in.
It's in the transcript.
I mean, it is. So unless you say something
part of
else,
the contract.
that's what I think happens.
Yeah, no, I'm feeling very confident with those two. So I think I'm a little surprised that PG's made it this far, to be quite honest. But it's good to see Todd continuing to do well. It is getting a little concerning that he could get eliminated, but it'd be nice to know if he somehow makes it to like the jury vote. I get the feeling that John Robert is going to ask him, confirm with him one more time if he actually is a flight attendant.
It's like, you answer me honestly, or else I'm not going to vote for you.
Oh
And
my
then
gosh, yes.
Todd realizes the only way to get his vote is to lie, like, nope, I'm not you're right, John Robert, I'm not a flight attendant.
Exactly.
And then John's like, I knew it, everybody.
Thought so.
That'd be great. That'd be great. And since you lost Jamie earlier, you only have Todd. Will you choose to stick with Todd or switch to one of the other 4 ladies?
I'm going to stick with Todd. I'm going to stick with my guy. Let's go.
All right. How exciting will it be for both of you if Todd wins and because you will not have a chance to switch after this because we're watching 13 and 14 together. If Todd does win, that is a winner pick from the beginning, from our first recording session.
It would be kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Kind of just vibes.
Just to amp myself up a little bit. I'll be like, yeah, been there, done that. Easy pickings. Show Sandra.
Yep. I picked Yule from the beginning, I think. Wait,
Yeah,
I have to go
that's true.
back, but I think Yule, yep, vibes
Oh
were
yeah,
there.
you did. You know what? Yeah, I guess you guys are better than I thought. Okay. But will you be good enough this time?
Ooh, dun dun dun.
This
Denise
will
that wins. He'll send me out.
This would be a pretty James level meltdown for me because, like, statistically,
Not
I'm
the
in a pretty
James
good
level.
spot right now, like with 2 of the 5 in. And like, I mean, of course, like they're not guaranteed to win, and you still have 2 more episodes to go where things can change. But I'm feeling better than I did with any other to end off any other season with my picks. That's for sure.
I'll remind you that at this point in the show, lately it's been a final 3. Now, of course, it can change whenever Jeff wants it to, but that's what had been happening lately in Survivor. So if that ends up being true, 2 more people will be voted out. So as long as they're not Todd and PG, you'll have somebody at the end. F.
Yeah.
Can't wait for you guys to see what happens. It's gonna be great. Anything else you want to get off your chests?
No. Goodbye to the people that left today. Goodbye, James.
Oh, I thought you
I
were
just
just
want to
saying
see.
goodbye to the
Oh,
audience and then
no.
hanging up on us.
No.
It's like, oh.
I meant goodbye, James, with your 2 idols. At least he gets a souvenir to take home. You think he got to take it home if you didn't use it?
You used to be able to do it, and at some point CBS started keeping them, so I don't know if you got to keep them.
Okay.
I would just like to see the return of the Sprint BlackBerry phone. That'd be nice.
Oh my gosh, don't you even put that out there, F.
It's like I could give you $1 million or $1 million data plan on the Sprint BlackBerry.
$1 million data
Oh
plan.
gosh. No,
It's
thank
like,
you.
forget unlimited data. It's like whatever $1 million would like give you, even though like
Okay,
you get
no shade
unlimited
to
data
Sprint.
plans.
I don't think it would bring much. I don't think they could.
no.
Well, actually, I got to think of this
Okay.
as this is back in like what 2007. So like, yeah, it's
Mhm.
probably they might not have unlimited back then. I don't know.
We have no way to find out. It'll be a mystery forever. But all right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Island Life, and we will be back next time for Survivor China as we go through the penultimate and final episodes of the season. But until then, and until we speak again, ciao.